I came in the other day and said very strongly, just 1 second, just turn it down just a bit. She always tells me it's too loud. Said that there was a re-meeting of life and that anything could come, bliss or anger. And then since then it's like, okay. So the angry one has been there all the time. It's like silence is there, and then on the top, the angry one is just running amok, foot stamping and manipulating and strategizing and all those things that it does. And there's a very strong judgment of this one. It's like, it causes hurt. It's really not acceptable and it really shouldn't be there. And it's hard to move out of that place of judgment because it just feels so ugly and completely self-centered. In the details, there's an understanding also of like the hurt child at the core of this and the pain at the core of this. And yet still, it's like this one has been running amok for so long, it feels not okay. Your conscience is available permanently to say what's okay and what's not okay. You know it and you feel it inside. It hurts to hurt others. It'll hurt you more than it'll ever hurt anyone else. But you say silence remains and you can still see the little one running amok. Okay. From this perspective now, you can stop the little one running amok in the detail. So when a situation arises, let's say you're with someone and someone hits a button on you and you feel something rising up and about to come out of your mouth, step away. Run out into the playing field and scream if you have to. You're undoing your patterns right now. In the beginning, when it's that noisy, when you feel this is so deep-rooted, this goes back to the roots of your story, this hurt, angry little one, who essentially is hurt and angry by a big parent, a fury at God for having abandoned you, a fury at separation itself. That's the root. Why would you trust the one that abandoned you? Didn't it let you down? So there's that inward battle, deeply unconscious, of course. However, the catching of yourself in the moment. Can you allow that this running amok, as you call it, can go on internally for the moment? Let it go internally. But your task now is really to not let it overspill. Because what dissonance you're adding. Is the silence of you running amok? And I know you know the answer to that. Okay, so what's happening is the more you're knowing the silence of your being, the more you're recognizing yourself, the more these deep-rooted tendencies are going to come up. And you're facing it actually happening now. It's not words anymore, it's your experience. What happens is if you like, one goes to the highest mountaintop of seeing and then has to go, you have to go into that cave, into the darkest cavern. From the highest mountaintop of seeing, from the base of wisdom, now you have to face all the possibilities of this manifestation we call life. So you can understand them. I know you say there's judgment. Okay, 2% of that judgment holds wisdom. It's a knowing that yes, this is unacceptable behavior, and it has to stop. Is silence judging? is Mother ever punishing? But she is firm. So listen to her. She will stop you overspilling. That's you. That's your innate wisdom. That's goodness itself. In a sense, you have to let those monsters run amok for a while. You know that. But now the clarity is I can allow them to run amok internally so that I can really hold them and see the details of them, but not let them bleed out onto others. The next time that same button is pressed, you've done the running out into a field. The next time it comes, you can be in the presence of this one who really triggers you and hold it. You can feel it. You can really feel that anger biting you inside, but it's still not going to move this form in any way. And in time, slowly, slowly, there's nothing firing up that tendency anymore. What remains? Love remains. Let's say you're in a deep process of purification of this world. Purify yourself without considering that that which isn't pure is somehow horribly dirty. I use this word purify a lot. But the mind can hold on to it and have an understanding that there is an opposition to purification, and that means something that is horribly dirty, and that's the judgment. No, misunderstanding of yourself. That anger is a misunderstanding of yourself. And it has its own unique flavors, unique to this one. Keep asking yourself, is silence judging? Am I judging? What would love do in any situation? You're getting down to the nitty-gritty, we can call it. All those hidden traits. How auspicious. How beautiful that you're willing to face those details. It's not enough to say, okay, I'm coming into recognition of the silence that I am. That's just the beginning. Now we get the pickaxe out.
I love the mirror that you give of like true mothering somehow, because that total firmness without judgment gives the safety to be able to do this work. And for this one that never had any boundaries or safety, that feels really important. So really thank you for that.
You know that I speak the word mother in different ways, and you're feeling them in all of the ways. The mothering sense, the nurturing sense, the embracing, all holding sense of mother. But the mother that is pure consciousness itself. The great womb out of everything is born. Presence. You are mother. To use this language in that way. Allow the words to play without holding on to them. In giving yourself, to mother, now you can be unpeeled of yourself. Because there will be layers in your story that have not felt nurtured, not felt cared for. Yes, this is the details of your story. But this is the root of all human identification. And each human story has its own script of that. Because if you feel that you are this person, you're eternally unnurtured. Eternally in search of love. What a paradox that to be that baby in the arms of love is to know love. But yes, this one is held while she's on the slab.
And also it's more to know that quality inside as well.
Yes.
Not just to feel like held by the mother, but to know that quality of absolute firmness.
Precisely. Precisely. You're not a beggar of God. You are that. As you say beautifully, this form is just a mirror to the precise thing of you, to mother of you. To clarity, to the wisdom of being. It's worth just adding before you go that there is a very deep-rooted and subtle conditioning within beings of I am inherently unworthy, inherently bad, undeserving of love. And there's a flavour of that here in that judgment. Yeah. In some sense, there is a very subtle wisdom in that. Not that you're inherently bad, but that who you are, what you are, is vast beyond all comprehension. You cannot possibly grasp yourself. You will never understand yourself. You are uncontainable, unknowable. And this has been translated by the thinking mind as I am not as good as. Again, it's like a child that's got hold of a wisdom and has slightly misinterpreted it.
Definitely. It's like the spacious one is good, the ego is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The ego is most certainly not bad. It's you. It's your route home. Self has replicated itself in the form of this one in order to see itself. How could it be bad?
abandonment wound comes very deep when you say that, because it says, but it was dropped by God. It's quite a story we've woven, so that you can come to know that you're the one that did the dropping. As a vast illusion, baby, you are meant to forget yourself for a while, like every child. Every child must grow up and away from the parent. Because part of its evolution, part of its journey, it must strike out on its own and say, I am not my parent. I am different to my parent. All is well, because eventually a turning point occurs, a deepening, a maturing, and you become parent. I'm very happy to hear you diving into the fine intricacies of story, because also linked in that notion of bad is that story is somehow bad. It's all truth, just a limited aspect of it. Allow yourself to feel the details. What a relief and a release and a shedding. You see, you can't suppress this story. It has to come up and out. Only then can it be transcended, can it seen. In that one who had no boundaries in your youth when you were a child, there's a teaching in there for you. That's again the child that has a grasp of truth but has misunderstood it. Yes, you are without boundary. You are without boundary. And yet, you contain the rules of this game as we spoke of yesterday. The you that has no boundary contains the boundaries of this manifestation. This body itself is its own boundary. The boundaries allow it to function. They're not wrong. But a misunderstanding of a deep truth was occurring when you were very young. Now can you see the precision of your story? Now you're coming to know the real you that has no boundary and learning how to have boundary within existence. They're not separate. It's one and the same.
It's like the pain of that one that was just sort of dropped as a child. You had always wanted safety. It's like it just ruthlessly wants to enforce its boundaries. You know, and that's not okay. Yeah. It's good to feel it though.
What a complex mechanism this psyche is. So beautiful when you realize its complexity. You won't feed it by looking at it from this way, from this perspective. Quite the opposite.
amazing actually, because in really feeling the depth of that pain, I totally feel the boundarylessness as well.
What a wonderful way to express it. The space that you are gives you space to see. And as you said right at the beginning, the silence that I am, I'm still fully aware of the silence that I am, and yet anger is there. Silence is holding you while you can feel the real rootedness of this pain. Silence is undisturbed. Silence is not angry.
Whenever I am in an intensive phase of meditation, something happens in my body and in my mind that I'm getting more and more sensitive, and it's like whatever comes into my five sense doors, it feels really strong, like sounds or smells or people around me. It's like, it feels like kind of skinless or raw, and so it's a little bit difficult to be among people or with people very close to me, or being in India, the sounds are very strong, smells as well. And at the same time, I don't want to be in a cave also. So I wonder what it happens always when I'm meditating strongly or intensively, and it disappears when I'm out of it. It happens here as I am in Tiruvannamalai, I'm meditating about now. So I wonder what I can do about it, or how to deal with it.
What do you mean by I don't want to be in the cave all the time? You said I don't want to be in the cave.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I go to my room and I lock every window and door, and I really need to be by myself, and, and lock everything out.
Yes. For many beings, there is a time when you must be in the cave, as it were. When you have to step out of life in order to see life as it really is. Whether it's for one day or 25 years, it doesn't matter. Ultimately, you're eternally in that cave of silence. But it has to be, for some beings, that they have to shut themselves away into a room, into a so-called quiet space, in the beginning, for as long as you need to, so that you can be in the midst of a storm and be untroubled. You don't need to be in a quiet place to know peace, but at the beginning it can sometimes feel that way. But if you're spending much time with this practice, with what you're calling meditation, it's worth really understanding the word itself. What is real meditation? Meditation is becoming conscious of consciousness, aware of awareness, bathing as you are, being as you are. You can have many experiences along the way. Enter other dimensional realities, you could say. Everything is existing within you. So at this time, the body is becoming very apparent. You feel it very acutely when you start to look inward. The senses are very, very raw. Heightened sensitivity. Yes. When a being is in a heightened state of awareness, let's say, they do become hypersensitive. Okay. But let's be very clear about what you mean. And if the sense of real meditation is occurring, and it can happen right now, right here. We began in the beginning with concentration. You remember when I asked you to put your hand here? Let's do it together now. So we can say there are 3 stages: concentration, contemplation, meditation. Concentration is required because we know the mind likes to jump about. And even just focusing on the sense of touch can be a challenge for the mind when there's a lot of distraction. So in this moment, just focusing on that touch. Okay. Now can you feel the space between hand and chest? The body is evident, you know it well. Find a space. Okay. Okay. Feel the expansiveness of that space. Is it limited to between hand and chest? No. Okay. Okay, let's use one of your senses. Listening. You can hear many sounds, you can hear my voice. Listening is happening. Now let space watch you listen. Be the space that's behind the noise. The awareness of noise. Noises won't disappear, they will still come and go. Is space hypersensitive to them? Like a wind.
I'm listening to the sounds and they're coming right here and it's very painful. So I don't know.
Okay. So the feeling of the sounds, the hearing of the sounds, vibrating through your body.
Yeah, it feels like pain.
Okay.
The horns and loud noises.
So what's happening is you're feeling all the different vibrations. The sound of a horn will have its own vibration. My voice has its vibration. Okay. Every movement, every manifestation is a unique vibration. Within a vibration. Who is aware of you listening?
I don't know, it feels like listening happening.
Okay.
In a passive way.
Okay. And now
There's happening listening, sound.
Okay.
entering.
So
this
now
body.
let's use a different sense now. Seeing.
Okay.
And
My
still-
eyes.
With your eyes, yes. For a moment with your eyes. Visual seeing is happening. Now bring your focus to the space between hand and chest. And now look at me from space. Let space look. Now go back up to your other eyes, your actual eyes, and feel the muscles working as you look at me. Okay, really look. Okay, you can feel them. You can feel the activity of seeing. Now drop back down to the space under your hand. Feel the space there. Now with your actual eyes open, look at me from the deeper eyes. Look at me from space. Is it possible?
Yes.
Is there a difference?
Yes.
What is it?
It's soft.
Okay.
It's space. It's non-judgmental.
Okay. So now, your focus here is space. Watch the noises from and as space. Is it possible this time?
A little bit.
So sound is more challenging for you.
Yeah.
And yet look what a seeing you've just had with your visual seeing. When space is seeing, when you are seeing as space, non-judgmental eyes are looking. This is love looking. This is you looking. The deeper eye. Untouched, undisturbed, like space.
It feels more easier when I'm sitting, and it seems to be my task in a way outside when I'm walking in the street as well.
You like it,
Being listening from the space. Is that right?
In every moment, from the moment you step out of bed until the moment you go to bed, look, watch as space.
Yeah, I lose it, of course, more, many times.
Okay.
Buying something, talking to somebody.
But that's your opportunity now. Recognition comes that I forget. But when you leave here today, as you walk out of here, let space walk you down the stairs. Let space order lunch. Let space eat lunch. See how the meal is. And now when you go back to your seat, let space walk you back. Thank you.
I've got a question about something you said a few days ago. It was kind of metaphor. You said, and maybe I used the wrong words, but just my words now. It was like an example of life was a football game. And the rules are important to enjoy the game itself, otherwise maybe you get a mess or chaos. And so you have to respect the rules to enjoy the game and to get everything out of the game. But afterwards I thought about it and I thought, well, that's maybe the dualistic life, but the real you has no rules. It's, as you thought before, it's space. So, and in space are no rules. It's empty or full, whatever you like to call it. So, what is the relation between your story and what I really are, or what we really are?
What I said was that without rules there is no game. It's not that it's a better game, but there is no game. It's just kicking a football. There's no game, there's no structure without a rule play. Without what you're calling duality, you would not be able to witness you. In an absolute sense, consciousness itself is subtly phenomenal, and therefore the beginning of duality is there. But these will just be words until it's your experience. Duality is not the enemy. It's consciousness's gift to itself, if that were possible. Splitting itself into diversity in order to witness itself. What happens within that extraordinary play is that a forgetting of your innate position occurs. Again, clearly consciousness knows exactly what it's up to. You had to forget in order to remember, because what a remembrance it is. When you're in the presence of someone who is wholehearted, let us say, you feel their presence. You feel presence. You are feeling yourself in them. Okay? So the mirror that is them, the mirror that is you, it matters very much that your mirror is clear in order to shine back a pure image of you to you. What makes it unclear are simply the layers of forgetting, the layers of personal understanding. But that doesn't make the personal story wrong. Everything is real. Everything is you. That's like saying that duality is not real. That's like saying that a wave is not part of an ocean. It's all you. Therefore, in order to really know you, there's only one way. To make sure you're being truthful in every moment of your existence. You've manifested into a form. So what to do? Be as you are, shine as you are through this form. You can throw out this word duality, it gets in the way. You are everything that you see and everything that you don't see. You are the animating force that is bringing all of this form into existence. And you are prior even to that. In a sense, one wants to throw out all spiritual language. What do you feel? You're here to know love. Real love. You can't intellectualize love, which means you can't intellectualize yourself. You, in fact, can never understand yourself. How do you know love? That says it all. You just know it. No one can teach it to you, but you can feel it. With every ounce of your being, you know it when you come into the presence of love. And you've been born to know real love that's without conditions. If I ask you right now, excuse me, to look at me as if your eyes were here, can you? Microphone.
I can all. Okay, yes, I can, I do.
And in this moment, how is it?
Right.
Why? What makes it great? Is there any need?
No.
Any need to understand this word duality? Okay. So bathe here. All the answers to all your questions lie in bathing here. As it may sound trite to say love is the answer, but there's no greater truth.
Yes.
And you've known it from the moment you were born, because you've been seeking it ever since you came out of the womb. That seeker's not wrong, okay? But for a while, it limits itself. It sees love only in a form, in an external, until eventually, like this moment right now, you discover the love that is, that you are.
Thank you.
Thank you.